Well, the Prime Minister has confirmed discussions over the Israel-Iran war with his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney. This is ahead of the G7 meeting. Our political editor Andrew Clennell is in Calgary, Canada for this meeting. We've just heard from Anthony Albanese. Of course, he was asked about what the world is watching right now. Unfolding events in the Middle East, the war, the escalating war between Israel and Iran right now. What did he have to say, Andrew?
Laura, good morning to you in Australia. Well, the Prime Minister essentially said that after his meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, that they weren't going to give the sort of support that Israel's President has called for, Isaac Herzog, overnight in terms of just point-blank supporting Israel in its war against Iran. Instead, he spoke about de-escalation. And I think we perhaps might see that from several of the G7 countries over this summit, with this war likely to dominate talks, with the exception of the United States President. And that will be just one of many divisions, I'm sure, through these talks. The interaction between Donald Trump and all leaders, including ours, will indeed be some sort of show. This was the Prime Minister earlier. Prime Minister, Israel's President's called overnight for the G7 to make a statement in support of Israel in its fight against Iran. Is that something you think the G7 should do, or Mr Carney? And did you discuss Israel and Iran?
We did discuss Israel and Iran, and both of us, I think, share a view wanting to see a de-escalation of conflict, wanting to prioritise dialogue and diplomacy. Australia has a do not travel warning for Israel and Iran. Australia, of course, I've expressed before our concern about Iran gaining the capacity of nuclear weapons as something that is a threat to security in the region. But we, along with other like-minded countries, do want to see that priority on dialogue and diplomacy.
So he doesn't want nuclear capability, and neither does Canada, he says, but he wants a de-escalation. That's one down, and there are many meetings now to go for the Prime Minister. He'll be meeting the head of the EU about potential Australian involvement, he said, in an EU security partnership, with things looking a little less certain with the United States as well. We know he's going to meet Emmanuel Macron from France and leaders from Germany and Japan, the head of NATO, etc. But the big headline is right at the end of the trip, right before he flies out, Anthony Albanese, and that'll be early, or should I say it'll be Tuesday afternoon here in Canada. It'll be in the morning, around 11 a.m, it's expected, on Wednesday morning in Australia. So that is a heck of a moment, particularly given the Pentagon review on AUKUS and the discussion around trade and tariffs and the bid by Australia's government and others to get some of those tariffs removed. And Anthony Albanese was asked about what he would see as success at that meeting. I think it's fair to say not being towed up and getting some sort of agreement to talk in future would be one thing he's very much after. Here was the Prime Minister's response.
I look forward to the discussions with President Trump. I deal with people constructively, respectfully, and I advance Australia's national interest. I don't want to preempt outcomes of meetings. A successful meeting is one where we are able to, I as the Australian Prime Minister, am able to put forward our position. Now, our position when it comes to tariffs is very clear. We see tariffs as acts of economic self-harm by the country imposing the tariffs.
I mean, he's holding firm, not saying anything new there. You've got to be a confidence player, certainly going into meeting with Donald Trump. But how's the mechanics of this going to work? Because the travelling press, obviously including you, Andrew, is going to have a huge interest in this. Is there going to be cameras in the room for part of this? Have they not told you yet? Because I can't imagine it's going to be, you know, all Oval Office style. And I can't imagine there's going to be any kind of joint media conference after. It's more, is it more on the like less formal side of things?
Could be. But there'll be demand from the American media to be in there. And if they're in there, we've got to be in there, right, Laura? So that will probably be for opening remarks.
Yeah.
But there's always a question, the actual summit site's some distance from the media centre, which is some distance from where we're staying and the Prime Minister is staying, which is in Calgary. You've got Calgary, Kananaskis, Banff. So that's kind of the mechanics of it. But you would expect an Australian journalism presence in the room. I certainly hope to be there. I hope many of my colleagues can be there, but that does remain to be seen. It is a massive moment. In fact, yeah, definitely no joint press conference, because Donald Trump will give his own press conference. He's flagged that. And then he'll get on Air Force One. And then around that time, the Prime Minister will get on his jet back to Australia. So basically, you've got Donald Trump doing a series of bilats, and then we're the last one. That's the program at the moment.
Wow.
Press conference by Trump, off he goes.
Well, good luck to anyone who tries to stop you from being in that room, Andrew. We'll see you soon. Appreciate the update, and we'll chat to you over the next couple of days.